to go live on Facebook. And our president is online. Madam President, if you just deactivate your camera, your picture should show up. And we are ready. I'm hitting go live now.
Did you see my picture?
Not quite yet.
Okay, I don't know what's going on.
Just stop your camera.
Okay, I'll stop. I'm on lunch. Choose applicant, open link. I'm on that. I can see faces,
Okay, great.
but as far as mute is concerned, I'm still on mute.
No, you're on. We can hear you. Next to the stop camera button, or click the stop camera button at the bottom of your screen, and your picture should show up.
Stop camera, show the button at the bottom of my screen. I see, oh, the stop video.
Yep, I'm sorry, stop video. I said the wrong word. That's my fault.
And then, is it up?
Not yet.
Okay, so then am I, it says choose video, virtual background, choose video settings.
No, just click on the stop. Just click on the big part of that button, and it should activate your picture. And when you're ready, we're ready.
You see it?
Okay, your name popped up, so that's okay. We can roll with that.
You can roll with that without the picture?
Yes, ma'am.
You know we're gonna get some
I
comments
got you.
about that.
I got you covered.
Okay.
It looked like her camera was up in the air at the ceiling or something, because we were seeing something, but it looked like it was a wall or something, and that's what it looked like to me.
Right.
Like a Zoom meeting wall. Okay, let's look at the video. Let's look at the, you want me to take mute off?
You're off mute.
Okay.
And as long as your name is up, just stop, hit the stop video, and we'll show your name. I got your picture I can put up.
Okay.
And if you're ready to start, we'll go ahead and start.
Can you hear that? Somebody, that must be Esther. Hold on one second.
Call from committed Fort
Ooh.
Call from committed Fort
All right, I'm turning that off.
We are live, you guys. Everybody can
Yeah,
hear.
we are live.
Everybody.
Put that on.
Oh, okay.
Put on that mute.
You're not muted, Madam President. I didn't want to mute you because you got to start the meeting.
All right.
We're ready to start. We can start.
Okay. Sorry for the mishap. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the South County Economic Development Association. Basically, you are invited to witness the installation of our new members of the Board of Directors and to hear our special guest, the Prince George's County Executive, Angela Alsobrooks. Also, you are gathered here to become a guest, any other guest speakers, in addition to visitors and other special media. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. At this time, we'll have our introduction of our chaplain of SCEDA, Mr. Linwood Hood, who is the president of Omega Supply Services. Chaplain Hood.
Good morning. Let us go before our Father. Our Father God, we come into your presence and into the presence of your people. We come acknowledging you as our source and giving you thanks for using us as human resources to do your work here on earth, to be impactful in Prince George's County, to carry out the duties and responsibilities that are the calls upon our lives individually and collectively. We thank you for the presence of all who assemble virtually, for those of Prince George's County and others who have joined us in unity and joined us in purpose, so that the government and the governed can impact through communication and through the unity and by the fulfillment of the purpose of SCEDA. I pray about that you lead, guide, and direct us into good communication, good understanding, so that the things we say and do will be in furtherance of the goals that we've set that are in line with your word. We thank you for those who shall be sworn in today. I pray that they are ever reminded that they have a charge to keep. And you, our God, they must glorify, and we must glorify, as we are the ambassadors, the representatives of you and your work here in the earth and with the office that they're about to take and the duty they're about to perform. We thank you, Father. We pray your guidance upon this meeting, and that you are glorified, that we are blessed, and that others are blessed who are the beneficiaries of the things that we say and do this day. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray and give thanks. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Hood. Now I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Jane Taylor Thomas, President and CEO of SCEDA. SCEDA aims to provide community-based leadership and planning for economic growth and development in Prince George's and Charles counties, eventually in Calvin County. Now I look forward to introduce our moderator this afternoon, this morning, I should say, Vice President Tanya Sweat, who is a practicing attorney in South Carolina, the District of Columbia, and Maryland. Ms. Sweat is also an educator, retired military officer, leader, and a manager. She is rolling up her sleeves to tackle healthcare, environmental injustices, economic development, public safety, as well as human resources, budgetary, and transportation issues. Ms. Sweat, I turn this over to you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, President Taylor Thomas. Before we get into the meat of our presentation this morning, we have a very special event we need to do. We just elected 3 new board members, and our election chair, Ms. Esther Williams, is going to announce the results of our election and install our 3 directors. And then after that, we're going to get into the purpose for why we're here today. Esther, the show is yours.
Thank you, Vice President Sweat. Good morning, everyone that's assembled here today. My name is Esther Williams, and I'm a SCEDA board member. I am pleased to serve as the election chair this year. This year, SCEDA's election was done a little differently than previous years. This year, our election was held totally electronic. We're moving to the 21st century. I do, however, want to take this opportunity to thank the election committee as well as SCEDA's Vice President, Tanya Sweat, for her leadership in overseeing and assisting in the process for this year's election for SCEDA. This year, we have elected 3 new board members who will serve for the period June 2021 till May 2024. It is my honor to announce this year's 3 elected board members. They are Ms. Caroline Wills Anderson, Esquire, Mr. Earl O'Neill, and Dr. Wilhelmina Taylor. I would ask that if the candidates would like to say something, to please keep your remarks to 2 minutes.
No. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
I just want to thank you all for honoring me, for electing me to be a board member. It is my honor and pleasure to serve you all, and I look forward to working with you all and to making different changes and to making a better community for all of us. And I just want to thank you once again, and I look forward to serving you all.
Thank you.
You're
Mr. Earl, would you like to say something?
Good morning.
Good morning.
What else am I supposed to say? What happened? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, you just logged on. So you have been nominated for this year's board member.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Hey, that's all I gotta say.
okay. Thank you. So now I will turn it back over to, I need to swear our candidates in. I'm sorry. If the candidates could please raise your right hand and repeat after me. In the beginning, you need to say your name when I say I and say your name. Raise your right hand, please.
Esther, before you do the oath, I
Okay.
think Miss Caroline is on the phone. I
Is
just
she
need
on
her
the
to
phone?
hit, yeah, I need her to hit *6 to unmute her line.
Okay.
You can go ahead. I'm trying to unmute her, but it's not working on my end. But I just wanted to make sure we acknowledge that she is on the line.
Okay.
By phone.
Yeah, we can't unmute the cell phones, unfortunately. Okay, are we ready to go ahead and take the oath?
Yes.
Okay. I, say your name.
Earl
I, Wilhelmina
O'Neill.
Taylor,
Do
Earl O'Neill,
solemn,
can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you. Do solemnly
No, 'cause I'm-
swear
You solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of Board of Director
the duties of the office of Board of Directors
in accordance with the bylaws of South County Economic Development Association,
in accordance with the bylaws of the South County Economic Development Association,
Corporation.
and that I will perform the duties
and that I will perform the duties
Perform the duties.
and responsibilities of this office
and responsibilities
Responsibilities
of this office
office.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge
and ability.
You are now officially sworn in. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I will turn it back over to our narrator, Ms. Vice President Sweat.
Thank you, Board Member Williams. I have to acknowledge, Ms. Williams is also the Executive Director of the South County Institute for Economic Development, which is the 501c3 arm or partner of SCEDA. So it's a special blessing to have her serve as our elections chair and to have her install our new board members today. And I want to welcome them, Dr. Taylor, Mr. O'Neill, and Ms. Wills Anderson. They are longtime members of SCEDA. They're hardworking members of SCEDA. So I'm excited to continue working with them through the end of my term in May. Not that I'm celebrating. The purpose we're here today, in addition to installing our new directors, is to have our monthly general meeting and community forum. And for those of you who don't know a whole lot about the South County Economic Development Association, we do this every month except the months of June, July, and August, because we want to ensure that our community members know what's going on in the community and have the opportunity to talk to important people in our community who can answer questions that we have and SCEDA doesn't have the answers to. Yes, we focus a lot on economic development and improving the economics and the business relations within our community. But as an organization, we understand in order to accomplish our goals and our mission, we also have to be advocates for what's going on in the community, and we have to educate our community about what's happening in the county, decisions of our leaders, and this is an opportunity for us to communicate with those leaders to let them know what's concerning us. So that's what we're going to get into right now. And we have a whole lot of county officials here with us today. I have to thank Mr. John Erzin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's the Deputy Chief of Staff for our County Executive, Ms. Angela Alsobrooks, who will be joining us shortly. But in the meantime, she was gracious enough to ensure that our county officials were here to start answering some of our heart-burning questions. And with us, I'm going to start with Mr. Charles Griffith, who's a director with the Department of Public Works and Transportation. And I'm going to ask him as he speaks to also introduce his team, because he brought a team of people. So we're going to get all of our Public Works and Transportation questions, I hope, or at least most of them addressed today. So Mr. Griffith, you now have 5 minutes, sir, to bring greetings and do a presentation if you'd like. And after that, we'll move on to the next department before we get into questions and answers.
And real quick, and I apologize,
Oh.
Ms. Sweat, if I could just jump in real quick. Everyone, good morning, everyone. As Ms. Sweat said, I'm John Erzin. I'm the Deputy Chief of Staff in the Office of the County Executive. And I thank you all for the opportunity for us to be here today, and all of the agencies who are here. And we look forward to doing the presentations and having some follow-up discussion from those presentations. The presentations that you'll hear from these agencies this morning are based on the initial round of questions that we received. So hopefully we're going to be able to answer a lot of those questions you have. I know that we got some additional questions as well. And while we were not able to pull all of that together for this morning, I've communicated with Ms. Sweat that I will work with our economic development team to answer those questions. I know there's questions surrounding the shopping center where the Giant just had their grand reopening, as well as other things that the Economic Development Corporation is doing. So I'll be following up to share information with her that she can then share with the group, as well as some of the things that we've done with rental and mortgage assistance during the pandemic. And also during the meeting, I will put some links in the chat that have some information around some of those issues, but we'll certainly pull those things together in a more concise format, and would look forward to coming back in a future meeting with those agencies responsible in those areas to talk more in detail about that. The one other thing that I did want to say this morning, and Ms. Sweat, I was trying to connect with you earlier this morning. I know there were you were working on your end here. I received a call this morning from our county executive, who unfortunately has a pressing issue that she has been called away to and has to address. So I wanted to bring greetings on her behalf. I wanted to apologize for her absence in this meeting. As I said, we certainly look forward to coming to a future meeting. I understand that you don't meet over the summer, so September would probably be the next meeting. And as I said, we'll certainly share information with you prior to that on the remaining issues that we don't touch on today. But I did want to make that announcement, and again, both offer greetings and regrets on behalf of our county executive. But certainly with all the agencies and the representatives that we have here this morning, we look forward to presenting you the information and having a good discussion around a lot of the issues that I know you have concerns about when it comes to transportation, flooding, stormwater, water contamination, and other issues that you raised with us. So we are happy to address all of that this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Erzin. Thank you so much. And yes, please drop any links, information that will be helpful to our audience in the chat. And what I will do is we always save our chats after the meeting. So if anyone wants to get a copy of that chat, you can drop your email address in there and we'll make sure you get a copy of the chat so you have that information after the meeting. And our guest on Zoom, you can also save the chat by going to the chat box and hitting those 3 little dots, and it'll give you the option to save the text in the chat when the meeting is over. And I'll be sure to remind you of that before we close today. But thank you for those greetings, Mr. Erzin. And we welcome our county executive anytime she is available to meet with us. Just let us know. The door is open. And so with that, I'm now going to turn the mic over to Mr. Griffith.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm with the Department of Public Works and Transportation. I'm the Associate Director for the Office of Storm Drain Maintenance. And I'll go ahead and let everyone else introduce themselves. Samaya Hackett is going to be sharing her screen for our presentation, but Kate,
Good
Vic,
morning,
do you guys want to
everyone.
introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I say, well,
Oh,
Samaya's
sure.
bringing that up. My name is Kate Mazzara, and I'm the Associate Director for the Office of Engineering and Project Management.
And hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Victor Weisberg, and I'm the Department of Public Works and Transportation's Major Projects Manager.
And good morning, I'm Samaya Hackett. I am with DPW&T as well, and I'm with the Office of Transportation. Did my screen share?
Yes,
Yes,
I can see
your
it.
screen is up,
Okay.
Ms. Hackett.
Okay, sounds good. So we're at the intro slide, and Charles, highway maintenance.
And I'm going to be covering our highway maintenance and road resurfacing slides. The Department of Public Works and Transportation, we're responsible for over 2,000 miles of county roadways. And every year we fill thousands and thousands of potholes. And FY21, which started July 1st, through the end of February, we'd already filled 14,000 potholes. Any pothole that you do see, please report it to 311. We are required to fill those potholes within 72 hours. If it's an emergency pothole, some sort of large failure, then we will go out immediately. So please report anything that you see in the roadway. It's very important. I think we can go to the next slide. For our resurfacing program at DPW&T, we use a pavement management system. So we actually have evaluated all of our roadway conditions and we rate them: good, fair, poor, very poor. We kind of showed a picture here. It depends on the amount of cracking, potholes, rutting from cars. And based on that rating, we then put a program together every year with trying to treat streets in many different ways, from crack sealing, cutting and patching, to full-blown milling and overlaying and rehabilitation. And through that, we're trying to maintain our level of pavement condition in the county and actually improve it. So that's our goal with our pavement management system. And I think with that, I'll turn it over to Charlie for our storm drain management.
Thanks, Kate. So really the newly formed Office of Storm Drain Management and Maintenance, we oversee the flooding and drainage issues, which I know there are a lot in South County. So we, as Kate mentioned, the 311 system, we encourage everyone to report the issues through 311. The process, they are then inspected by one of our district inspectors. And then obviously the appropriate action will be taken, whether it's maintenance, whether it's deferred for further investigation for a capital improvement project, or we work with our other agencies, whether that's DPI or DOE. And of course, we have a flood control pamphlet we want to give everyone as well. We'll send that out, Ms. Sweat, so you guys have that as well. It's got a lot of great information, so just wanted to convey that as well.
And I'm Samaya Hackett again. I'll be talking about our South County transit initiatives. The bus operates 4 fixed route services Monday through Saturday with 30-minute frequencies in the southern region of the county. As you may know, the Saturday service is new as of this year, so we're excited to be able to provide that service to our residents. We also launched the Prince George's County Link, which is a new on-demand curb-to-curb service. You can go to the Translock Link app and identify where a vehicle is, put in your address, and the vehicle will come to your curb to pick you up. And that service is $2 a trip. And we're also looking to pilot a South County Circular. It's a senior citizen-based service that that will target the senior residential areas in the Fort Washington and Oxon Hill areas. And it will operate 3 days a week with 45-minute to 60-minute headways or frequency. And it will serve the National Harbor, Tanger Outlets, and Rivertown Commons. We're looking for that implementation to be somewhere around July 1st or thereabout. So those are the new services that we have in South County, and we are continuing to meet with residents as yourselves and take suggestions for additional areas to study.
Great. Hi. Thanks to Maya. I'm Vic Weisberg with DPW&T. I'll talk a little bit about some of the major transit initiatives in the county, focusing on the two fixed guideway transit projects that are, one is in construction and one is in development. You may have heard a little bit about the Purple Line. It's a 16-mile project that goes from New Carrollton, and we've made it very clear that the project is to start in New Carrollton and go to Bethesda. It's being done as a public-private partnership, or P3. The overall contract, which is for 30 years, which makes this project rather unique in that it contains the design elements, the construction elements, and then the operating elements of the project. So the concessionaire, while the Maryland Transit Administration and MDOT are the ones who own the project, the ones who will be administering the project is the P3 concessionaire. The county has put a lot of skin in the game. We have committed $120 million towards the project. Plus, in order to get a design of an aerial structure and station in the Riverdale area that frankly met the needs of the community in a much better way than the design that was provided, we provided $7.3 million. That was a portion of the overall amount to do that. I'll be honest, the project which entered into construction over a year ago hit some snags last year. The construction arm of the concessionaire, which is called Purple Line Transit Partners, or PLTP, one of the companies, or the principal company of the construction team, raised a number of concerns and essentially asked and got PLTP to exit the project. The good news is about 2 months later, they were able to come together, agree to a settlement to essentially provide a way for that construction entity to exit the project, but then start the process of bringing on a new design build contractor. So that is what's going on. And in the interim, you have the MTA is continuing the project. They're continuing construction and they're focusing on utility work so that when the new construction firm comes on board, which should be by the end of the year, everything is good to go and they can kind of just, get started and move forward on the hard construction elements. Also, part of the negotiation of bringing on that new design build firm will be figuring out a more defined schedule. And hopefully all of that will be completed by 2021, and then they'll have a more defined schedule for when total construction will be complete. Another project that is closer to the South County area, or in the South County area, is the Southern Maryland Rapid Transit Project, or SMRT, or SMART as we like to pronounce the acronym. We're very excited about this project. It's a fixed guideway transit project that goes from the White Plains, forgive the typo, to the Branch Avenue Metro in Prince George's County. And there have been a number of studies through the years. The most recent one was a study that looked at alternatives for the alignment. Also a number of options of how to get into and access the Branch Avenue Metro Station, which is pretty complicated. So that report was published in May of 2017. To be honest, it was something that sort of the tail end of it was done through $5 million that the O'Malley administration made available. When the Hogan administration came in, they kind of sped the conclusion of the project up and kind of wrapped it together and announced preferred alignment, but also expressed a preference for bus rapid transit, and light rail was also an option. That does not set that in stone. So the next steps are, frankly, to get it back into the state's consolidated transportation program. And some very good news is that the state legislature passed legislation called HB 414 that provides $5 million a year for, and it's a correction, for the next 5 years, provided there is a federal match to go along with that. So the legislation is on the governor's desk. If he doesn't do anything, it automatically becomes law. So as long as he doesn't do something like, we don't think it to like veto that legislation, it's going to become law. So we're hopeful and optimistic. And we're working very closely with Charles County on this project, and also talking to the federal delegation. And one process that might be available in the toolkit with the new administration and the current Congress is earmarking of projects. So we're working with the delegation to see about getting an earmark to get the study, to get the National Environmental Policy Act study funded for completion, which will take a few years. But that's the next step in the project. Once we go through planning and a record of decision is announced, then the project can move forward into final design and construction. And with that, let's go to the next slide. An issue that I know is near and dear to many of the individuals here is the Maryland 210 corridor and the advancement of the projects, the SHA projects in that corridor. One of the questions we received is what's the status of the current construction at Kirby Hill and Livingston? And it's moving forward, and as you know by being out there, it's very much in construction, and they are sticking to their date of getting that finalized finally by the end of this year, by the end of 2021. And then some questions about changes in the expansion and in the plans. The initial plans, I think, were drawn up in the late 90s, early 2000s, and that's sort of been the basic framework. However, in the State Highway Administration is looking at options for how best to advance the additional phases of the project. And we are working very closely with them on that. In fact, we're going to meet Monday to discuss their plans and how to move into the next interchange project, which we're strongly encouraging that to be as expeditious as possible. And then, you know, some of the financing in the corridor. I mean, one thing that we do need to make clear is Maryland 210 is a state project and is a state funded project. So no county resources are being expended for the work on 210. By state law, there is a percentage of the revenue from the MGM casino that is being set aside to support corridor improvements in the 210 corridor. So, you know, we'll be working with SHA on that piece. But to be clear, the owner of the project is Maryland State Highway Administration. And as I mentioned earlier, we are working with SHA on developing projects to be supported by this fund and to start implementing in the next fiscal year. So, and then, you know, no funding has been expended to date, but we're working on advancing this project. Thank you. And I think the last slide is to thank everybody. And I think at the end of all the presentations, there'll be a Q&A period. So we really appreciate everybody's time and attention.
Tanya.
Yes.
Before I don't want to wait till the end. You know, we get all this stuff about these projects, and they're nice projects. And what we find, and I want this to go back because I want to stop it right there, is that
he found a job he loves. That is unfortunate, kind of.
Hello. What happens at these projects? We see very few.
Could really feel like that could be his life.
Is that me talking? Who's that?
Go ahead, Mr. Earl. We cleared it up. Go ahead.
Okay. No, what I was saying is these projects, they're nice and good, but we rarely see where African Americans are subcontractors on these jobs. And what we see happening, whether it's 210 or the P3 thing, you put a Black project manager, and we don't even see Black workers on it. We need to address that issues when you talk about the pressure. We want you, we're glad you're doing all this work, but we want to see some people look like us is making some of our money, because that's why we talk about economic development. We ain't talking about minorities. We talking about Black contractors getting a piece of this money is coming down here. And we don't see that. Whether, and like I said, you do a project manager that's Black and send him to community meetings, and then he tells us how good the projects. But we need to see more Black contractors.
And turn this next session over the.
Excuse me, this is SCEDA's meeting, and I'm making this point because I wanted to get back to the county exec and her staff. We don't want just to say what you're doing. We want to make sure that our concerns is, because we're South County Economic Development, that our members who are contractors and stuff get a piece of this action. And I just wanted to make that sure so that can get back.
Yes, Mr. O'Neill, and I thank you for that comment. And as we talk here today, I'm taking notes on the items raised and the follow-up items. So I will ensure that I take that back to our team and that, you know, we can have some additional discussion regarding that.
Okay, appreciate it.
And on that point, I'm gonna throw this question in now. One of the questions we got in advance involved procurement for DPW&T. Can somebody explain that process and how that works for small business owners who may be interested in doing business with the department?
So from the transportation perspective, we do follow the county's procurement process. So any registrations for small businesses would go through the county's procurement office, and that's CD3, SD3. That is the office that does the registrations for small businesses. And I'll look as the meeting goes on, I'll look for the link and I'll put it in the chat.
Great, thank you. And
you're very welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry, was somebody else on us? Because another question or follow-up to that is, Ms. Hackett, you mentioned registration. for our small businesses, many of them already have to go through the certification process for the State Department of Transportation or the State Department of Veterans Affairs. Can you explain why there's an additional registration requirement with the county?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't answer that question.
Okay,
I will
great.
look up the
Thank
link
you.
and put a contact in for you. I don't have the answer, but we can look it up.
That'll work. Or if you know, if you have a contact person that we could talk to get a better understanding of that process, I think that would be very helpful as well, because many of our small businesses have questioned that. They feel like they're having to do a lot of paperwork just to get a seat at the table. And that process within itself can be burdensome to a small business. So if we could get a point of contact for procurements within the county and how that works, that's a community forum that we can easily set up later in the fall or early next year to help our small business owners with their relationship and their operations within the county. So thank you for that.
Could you read my
Ma'am?
question verbatim? The
Yeah,
question
let
I
me,
sent
if
to you, read that
I can
verbatim.
address that from the county executive's office. So good morning. I'm Jared McCarthy. I'm out of the county executive's office. One of the agencies I oversee is Central Services. So if I could get a point of contact for this organization, we will set up a meeting with Central Services. It's kind of a community forum where they will walk you through how you register. We can walk you through kind of the set-asides that we have for county small and county-based businesses. And we can walk you through some of the programs that we are setting up and have coming up, one of which is, our Green Book, which is designed for Black-based and minority-based businesses. So I want to make sure we get the right people there. If I can just get a point of contact, we will make that work. And Mr. Erzine is out of the county executive's office as well. And I think I see it right there. Give me a second to write
Yes,
that
sir,
down.
Mr. McCarthy. I just put the organization's email box in the chat. I'm the vice president, and our president is also on the line, Ms. Jane Taylor Thomas. So
Not a problem.
our
We will,
Business Relations Committee Chair is Ms. Sonia Williams.
Ms. Sonia Williams. We will get an email out to you early next week to talk about how to get this set up. Fair enough, ma'am?
Fair enough.
Thank you very much.
I love it. Okay, now the specific question that I was asked to share, and I'm gonna share it word for word. What is the procurement process that is currently being implemented in the purchase of small and short-term purchases of industrial supplies and material? More specifically, supply items that are not competed or solicited on long-term contracts. I don't know if Mr. McCarthy can answer that question, but I'll just give you heads up. That's one of the questions that we received that we would like to have addressed at some point.
And I think that's,
May I comment on my question too? May I?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. So, so you can better understand my purpose and my point. I understand the process because I have a duty as a businessman owner to read the Prince George's County Procurement Manual. It's on the website and we have a copy. And so, and then too, I also know that the individuals who are represented today are not in procurement business. That's already mentioned. So I'm not gonna ask them to ask that question directly, but I wanted to get the question out there. I should tell you also that Mr. Jonathan Butler, and I've talked to him, I know him, he's in charge of procurement overall. And so there's no issue in terms of being able to communicate with him. I've tried to reach agencies, and it's not about my company alone, because I would not take your time to personalize the issue. It's about the infrastructure, the economic structure, wherein businesses who are in Prince George's County and who employ people from Prince George's County can contribute to the economy. And so in a general sense, I just want to know the process so that my company, sure I'm marketing, I have a business, but it's not for me alone, it's for the process so that those small purchases where there are millions of dollars obviously been spent, and I don't have the stats, but I just know that it takes funds to operate in a business. And sometimes their funds needed on products needed on a quick emergency basis. They're under $100,000. You see, that's a cutoff point between the small purchases and large purchases that are put out on the website, and everybody have to look for themselves. And so, and do your due diligence. I'm just saying that at some point in time, and I sent a copy to the county executive, a person whom I've supported and still do, because of I think the direction that she's leading and the direction that businesses are going who are serving in Prince George's County. So that in summary, we get the answer to that question, so that, for an example, if agency, Department of Public Works need a project, some item that costs, let's say $85,000 in total, and you have a threshold for small purchases, let's say of 100. And so, okay, you have to solicit to at least 2 or 3 people, companies, you know, because competition is to be practiced to the maximum extent possible. But they can go to 3 and still the others, there may be 25 companies out there who have seen the product. But so the discretion that seems to be in place and in effect here may not be spread in a broad circle. We may need to increase the circle in terms of people who are contacted. So at least you can compete. And so that's the essence of it.
Well, thank you, Chaplain Hood, for reminding us that we have to ensure fairness in the competitive process, in the procurement process within the county. And we will certainly follow up with Mr. McCarthy and Mr. Erzin to see when we can put together another community forum to address just that issue in the county. I'm gonna take DPW&T off the hot seat for a moment. We might be back doing Q&A, but I'm gonna give you a minute to relax and take a breath. I want to introduce Ms. Mary Miles. She's from what I affectionately call, and I think a lot of people call it DPI, the Department of Permitting, Inspections, and I always forget the E. That's why I rely upon DPI. So Ms. Miles, I'm going to now turn the floor over to you for a brief welcome and opening comments. And please introduce anyone from your team who is with you today.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Mary Giles with a G from the Department of Permitting, Inspection, and Enforcement. We're so happy to be here this morning. Also with DPI is Avis Thomas Lester. Avis, if you'd like to introduce yourself. Need to unmute.
Hi, my name is Avis Thomas Lester. I'm the Public Information Officer for DPI. I'll be putting some information into the chat for you, including my contact information, and you're welcome to follow up with any questions you have. Thank you for having us.
Okay, and we have a short presentation this morning. I can pull it up unless you're going to, Avis. Okay, here I have it here. Let's see, can I share the screen? Okay, so just a few slides here. The Department of Permitting, Inspection, and Enforcement. We have a total of 5 divisions, and each of our divisions performs different functions. Our director's office, we have Melinda Bowling as our director, Gary Cunningham as our deputy director, and Dawid Abraham as our second deputy director. You can call 311 to report complaints, and they're routed, many of them are routed to DPI. Our 5 divisions, Permitting and Licensing Division. These folks are the folks that start your permit and issue your permits. They're kind of the bookends of our permit process. The phone number and contact information is on our slideshow. Our Building Plan Review Division, these are the engineers that review and approve the building permits. Structural engineers, electrical, mechanical, multiple disciplines that review your building permit before it's issued. DPI's Enforcement Division, that's our E in our name. They investigate code violations, they conduct inspections. This is pretty much what they do every day, all day. Look at all sorts of matters pertaining to property standards and illegal construction. Our inspections division, the inspections division regulates and inspects new construction. So they're out there for both residential and commercial construction permit projects. And Site Road Plan Review Division, I'm the Associate Director in the Site Road Plan Review Division. We review and approve site and roadway plans for proposed development. So basically all of the horizontal work, not so much the vertical buildings, but all the site work involved in a new permit project. That's our mission to review. Okay. Who handles what? We have a few listed here. Parking complaints. DPI handles any complaint about a person's vehicle being parked on a residential lot on an unpaved area, commercial vehicles that are in driveways, untagged vehicles. So if you're trying to register a complaint like that, you can post it through 311 and it would be picked up by DPI. The Revenue Authority handles complaints related to abandoned vehicles, wrecked and junk vehicles that are parked in the roadway. And then the police department handles complaints and violations and with respect to people parking in areas that have no parking zones signed. So we split that up. Street maintenance, the Department of Public Works and Transportation is responsible for maintaining the county roads. And if you happen to live in a municipality, then the municipalities are responsible for maintaining those roads. The State Highway Administration is responsible for maintaining state routes, and these are the ones that have numbers on them. And then finally, if you're trying to figure out if a roadway is owned by the county or the state or the municipality, you can go onto the website and look for our pavement assessment management system. It's a map that you can click into, put an address in, and it'll identify what roads are, whose roads are maintained by who. More who handles that. Trash. DPI addresses trash on residential and commercial lots and private property. So if there's a trash complaint, that 311 complaint will be routed to DPI. DOE, of course, collects trash and recycling and bulky trash and yard trim that's left at the curb. And then DPW&T addresses complaints about trash on sidewalks, roads, and public right-of-ways. In other words, sort of like illegal dumping complaints in the right-of-way. Drainage issues and flooding. Homeowners should address property maintenance. Sometimes your own drainage issue can be addressed by the homeowner themselves. There's a very helpful residential drainage booklet that DPI has on our website, and we'd have to give you the link. It just gives pointers to homeowners in terms of how to deal with things like sump pumps and so on. DPI responds to drainage complaints in new subdivisions that are under permit and those related to structures and illegal unpermitted construction. DPW responds to drainage complaints in existing neighborhoods where the drainage complaint is out in the county street or in the public storm drain system. And then the Department of Environment responds to drainage complaints related to grading and environmental issues, usually on private property. About 1 month ago, DPI partnered with our sister agencies to address county drainage issues and flooding. We collaborated between the three agencies, DOE, DPI, and DPW, as well as the Soil Conservation District. We put together and hosted a drainage and flooding in Prince George's County report. The report and presentation is posted on our website at the link listed on this PowerPoint at http://dpi.mypgc.us. And that's the end of our presentation, and we'll be here and happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Giles, and I apologize for my mispronunciation of your name. I am country. I'm from South Carolina originally.
No problem.
And I have to say to the audience, I'm like most people, even though I'm a lawyer, I don't like enforcement. So now I know why I don't remember that E in DPI. Because that means if you're enforcing something, somebody's in trouble. But thank you for being here. Quick question. We're going to equal opportunity. We beat up on DPW&T a little bit, so we're going to beat on you a little bit. One question that we got in advance was, how does the county handle enforcement of environmental violations, meaning uncut grass, condemned homes, broken down vehicles that have remained in public parking spaces for extended periods of time? Is that something that falls under your department, and how is that addressed?
DPI definitely responds to complaints about tall grass and weeds. The enforcement division can provide more detail, but in short, we respond to the complaints. First, we attempt to get the property owner to remedy it at some point. If the property owner doesn't, we will come out and cut the grass ourselves and then lien the property. In terms of parking on private property, if a person is parking vehicles, say for example, in their front yard on the grass, not on a driveway, not on an appropriate surface, DPI responds to, our enforcement division responds to those in a complaint manner and cites the property owner to be able to remove vehicles off the grassed area that's not allowed by code. And then you said illegal, did you say
Broken
abandoned?
down in public rights of way. How are those addressed?
In the public rights of way, those are not handled by DPI. Those are responded to by the Revenue Authority. So those 311 complaints go to the Revenue Authority for enforcement.
Awesome. And then condemned homes, meaning houses where the resident may have passed away and now the heirs are not taking care of it, so it's fallen into disrepair. Homes that may have been damaged by storms and they're just left unrepaired, nobody's doing anything with them. Is that something DPI addresses, or is there another agency that we need to contact?
Yes, DPI's enforcement division responds to complaints about dilapidated and abandoned conditions, particularly dilapidated conditions. If a person, say for example, has a lot of chipping paint on their house, a 311 complaint will be directed to DPI's enforcement division, and we will cite the property owner. If they've left trash in their yard or just generally not maintaining their property, those property standard complaints go to DPI, yes. And like in the recession, DPI ended up receiving a lot of complaints about abandoned properties that become unsafe, and they ended up citing the property owner. If nothing could be taken care of, we would end up boarding up the properties and liening the property and so on. So yes, DPI handles property standard complaints like that.
Awesome. And then one other thing we've noticed in the southern part of the county, which continues to be a major problem, dumping. How do we deal with that issue? I mean, many homeowners are aware that we can contact 311 and have a bulk trash pickup scheduled, but we have a lot of vacant property and people tend to dump household trash, mattresses, old chairs, you name it. You drive along roads in this southern area and you can see it just out in the trees and in the weeds. How do we deal with that issue? Is that something we need to complain to 311 about? Do we contact your office to get that addressed? Because that's a big problem in this area.
Those type of complaints should definitely be reported to 311. Many of those complaints, if they're not in the public right of way, are directed to DPI. DPI's both inspection and enforcement division get involved in enforcement action for illegal dumping.
Awesome.
And if I could respond to that a little bit as well. And I see that our director of the Office of Community Relations has also keyed up her camera. So Unisha, I'll turn to you on that piece, and then Ms. Sweat, I'll come back and just add a little bit.
Awesome, thank you. Welcome, Ms. Davis.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. Hello, everyone. Good to be here. And so, John, you're going to let me speak first, and then you'll go.
Yeah, if you want to talk a little bit about the 311 side of it, and then I want to talk a little bit about the larger litter and illegal dumping task force.
Okay, sure. So, and I'll keep it short. Hopefully anyway. At this summer, we're launching a new PGC 311, and so formerly it was County Click 311. But of course, it makes better sense that it's PGC 311. And so we're excited about the new launch. It will be able to, it's more convenient for our residents to use. We'll have a mobile app. You're able to take pictures now. So Ms. Sweat, as you're talking about the dumping and the couches on the side of the road, you're able to take a picture. You are able to, and then the coordinates are automatically placed in the system, and you don't even have to call in. It goes right to our operators, and then we'll be able to dispatch that to the appropriate agency. Another feature we have, which we thought was very, very important, is our community feature 311 on the go. And so when you have issues, and I don't really like to use complaints anymore, they're concerns, right? Because when people call in, it's a different way you handle people, and it's a different, I think it's a different level of response. And so when you call in your concern, whether it's a couch, mattress on the side of the road, you can also call 311 on the go, and we will come out to your community, we will troubleshoot, and we will bring the appropriate agency there to handle the situation. So it's more of a resolve more quickly, because sometimes when you call 311, and my operators, we're answering now at a rate of, even within the pandemic right now, 20 seconds. We can get to you in 20 seconds versus before the Alsobrooks administration, it was 4 minutes. And so now we're able to respond to that, get that to the agency, and that agency is now able to dispatch and come out and resolve the situation. So again, if you want for us to, and I'll make sure this goes in the chat, I'm not sure if I see Jennifer Hawkins, who is our 311 on the go manager. You have some issue areas where you want us to, oh, Jennifer's right there. So Jennifer, you can put in the chat the 311, the community walks, or you just want us to come out to see these issue areas. We will come out, and then we will make sure that it is resolved.
Awesome.
I hope that answers the questions.
That does answer the question. And I'm gonna let Mr. Erzin chime in, but I think this is also a perfect segue, right into the Office of Community Relations. So don't go anywhere, Ms. Davis or Ms. Hawkins, because after John finishes, we're gonna come right back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. I appreciate that. I just wanted to get into a little more detail when we look at the illegal dumping and the litter. That is a huge focus for our county government right now. We hear the concerns from people. We see it as we travel through the county as well. Just a couple of weeks ago, we held our Growing Green with Pride Day. We had communities out across the county doing litter pickups, doing other beautification projects, plantings, and things of that nature. I will get the stats while we're on this meeting, because I do have them. I just don't have them right in front of me in regards to how much trash and illegally dumped material was picked up that day and has been picked up so far through the first quarter of this year. The county is out, in force with DPWT, DOE, DPI, and working to pick up the trash and things that you see along the county roads. We are also working with the state, because I know one of the things that was touched on when DPWT spoke, you have the state roads and you have the county roads. And the county government is responsible for maintaining the county roads. And then the roads that you see that have the numbers on them, like Route 210, like Route 202, Route 214, and so on and so forth. Those are the state roads, and the state is responsible for maintaining those roads. So one of the things that we had done prior to the pandemic, and we're getting that and emphasis back on that now, is ensuring that we partner with the state and that we communicate effectively with the state, so that when they're coming through and let's say they're doing that type of cleanup on a state road, then we make sure that we get our crews out on the county roads that feed into those state roads. So you're seeing, areas all get handled at once. So that's one thing we're doing. We also have created, and I believe the county executive mentioned this a few weeks ago at one of her press conferences. We've created a litter and illegal dumping task force, and it has all of the appropriate agencies on it, and we are working on ways to address the issue. Now, as I'll put in the chat in terms of the amount of materials that have been removed by the county, our trucks, our crews are out there daily, and we're doing it and picking up a lot. And unfortunately, one of the things that we're seeing is that as soon as we go through a road, we can come back a few days later and find the trash or find the illegally dumped materials. So a couple of ways that we're trying to address that. We certainly want to partner with the community in these efforts. And I think, we had over 80 groups out during our Growing Green with Pride Day across the county. And we have a website, pgcproud.com, that has a lot of information on how the community can get involved in our litter and illegal dumping efforts and in our beautification efforts. So I'll share that in the chat as well. And the other thing that I did want to mention, because you mentioned the bulky trash pickups, and we know that during the pandemic that had to be suspended for a while, but that is back up and running now, and our crews are in the process of clearing the backlog and ensuring that when people schedule, that we're able to get there in a reasonable amount of time to get those materials picked up. So we have a lot of things that are going on, and additional things that we'll be announcing. Soon we hope to put out a dashboard that the community will be able to see, not only to see all of the stats and things about what we're picking up and where we're picking up and how it's working, but as I'm sure some of you are familiar with, when it snows and the snow plows are on the roads, you can actually see where they are. There's a way to look that up and see where they are, and are they close to your community? When are they coming to your community? We want to be able to do that with the litter removal as well. We want you to be able to see where the trucks are and where they're going to be and where they're coming. So that is something we're working on as well, to push more information out into the community. And of course, there's always the opportunity, as Director Davis was talking about, and Mary Giles as well, that reporting these things to 311, and as we get that new system going, being able to take pictures and us being able to see exactly the locations that are being talked about, so that we can move to address those. So that's just some of the things that we're working on. As I said, I'll share some additional information in the chat, and I thank Avis. She just put some information into the chat from DPI and DPWT that over the last 6 weeks, we've done the illegal sign blitzes. Those are all those signs that you see in the median and in different places advertising anything you can think of. We've removed over 4,000 illegal signs over the last 6 weeks. And as I said, I'll put into the chat some of the numbers in terms of the litter and illegally dumped material we removed in the first quarter so far this year.
Thank you, Mr. Erzin. Now, question on those signs in the median. Is the county doing anything to educate? Because some of these are small business owners who are trying to market and may not know any better. Are we educating our small business owners that that's not the way to do this? Or are we just taking the signs out, putting them in the trash?
No, I see Avis from DPI had her hand up. If we could let her chime in here.
This is sign litter is one of my personal concerns. We get a number of complaints every week at DPI about illegal sign litter. We understand and are supportive of economic development and small business and all businesses in Prince George's County, but the side of the road is not the place to advertise your business. And we do let people know that. We have a number of programs. We have the Sign Blitz programs that The County Executive's Office sponsors several times a year. The agencies work with the State Highway Administration and the municipalities. We go out, we take the signs down. We contact the people whose phone numbers are listed on those signs and try to trace the problem, who those people are. The problem is that those are 95% of the time cell phones. When we reach out to people, they deny having posted the signs. Generally, people print 500 signs and then hire a teenager, to put them up at $1 a sign or whatever. So it's very, very difficult to trace these people. We are investigating these. When we find people to hold them responsible, they can receive a fine of up to $1,000. When we find them and we give them that fine, that generally is enough to encourage people not to do it again. We also ask citizens to partner with us on this effort, though. When Mrs. Johnson is advertising, $25 per hour piano lessons on one of those signs, we support her in wanting to offer children piano lessons, but we can't have 250 of her signs littering the side of the road. So if you are interested in her, you might say, Mrs. Johnson, we really appreciate the fact that you're offering lessons, but I cannot patronize you as long as you are littering our environment, because that's exactly what those signs are. They are roadside litter, and that's a priority for the county to not litter and to clean up our roadways and to all be stewards of a clean environment for our county. So we work very, very hard on those. I put the information in. Anytime you see them, please report them to 311. 311 will notify DPW&T and or DPI, and we will go out and take them down. And the best way to stop this is every time somebody puts them up, we take them down, put them up, take them down. And after 2 or 3 times, people generally know that they're going to have to stop. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Thomas Lester. That's good information, because we do see a lot of those signs. We appreciate them, but you're right, they're litter. And so if we're going to keep our environment clean, we got to keep it free of the litter. So Ms. Davis and Ms. Hawkins, we're back to you, Office of Community Relations.
Sure. Okay. I don't have a formal presentation, and I will tell you guys, I think I'm operating off of like maybe 3 hours of sleep. Last night we hosted, and it's okay, because community relations for us is 24/7. Within reason. But last night we hosted the very first 24. It's a 24-hour period. So yesterday, and today. Vaccination, or our Vaxathon. Last night, or just during the day, all day yesterday at the Sports and Learning Complex, we had 812 residents come through last night and get vaccinated. And I think the beauty of it is that we provided access for people throughout the day. And so if you couldn't make it at 11 o'clock because you were at work, or because your children they were at school, you could come at 7 o'clock. You can come at 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night to be vaccinated. As we say here, it's not just for yourself, but it's for the community. It's for your loved ones. So we had some talent come out last night. We served residents pizza, Chick-fil-A. So we had some sponsors come in, and what I really loved yesterday was we had some young people come in. So for the very first time at this activity, we were able to vaccinate 12 to 15-year-olds. Now, just the day before, we didn't get clearance. We got clearance, we pushed it out, and we had, as you can see, Jennifer pulled the pictures up. So thank you, Jennifer. As you can see, we had a line of young people come out 6 p.m. last night, and they were rolling in to be vaccinated. And so I think everyone wants to get to a place of being normal again, right? And so now moving forward, 12 to 15-year-olds and up will be able to be vaccinated. And also you didn't need an appointment. It was walk-ins yesterday. So so today we are we're just dispatching our mobile units throughout the county. We are as a matter of fact, my team right now, starting it was 9 a.m. We are at Ebenezer Baptist Church, or AME. We are at Langley Park Community Center. We are also at Greater Mount Nebo, that is in our central area. And then that's all happening until 2 p.m. today. And then we go again from 3 to 5, where we're at First New Hope Baptist in Suitland. So for us, it's all about access. And during the Alsobrooks first year, the Office of Community Relations attended over 500 community events. I thought that it was very important for us to be on the ground. And how I run this agency, it's a grassroots campaign for us, because we need to understand what's happening in the community. We can't do our job behind our desk. So most times, the OCR team, we're out in the community. So we wanted to be able to increase visibility, to really touch people in a way where we go to you. And so a lot of our activities over the last 2.5 years, it has been out in the community. Just in April, we have participated in 22 events, activities in the Southern area, even through a pandemic. Last year, when we closed down March 16th, I believe that the schools closed on that Friday, my office never closed. And then we did it again, right? We did it safely, but we understood that we couldn't shut down because residents needed us. Over this last year, we have taken in over 200,000 pieces, donation pieces, so items. So that is basic need items, PPE items, and we have taken it in and we have given it out as well. And so that created a new component. COVID-19, of course, it added many new things to many different agencies, but this donation piece was added for us, and we're still receiving donations, and we push it out to those areas that need it. And so within my office, we have our Outreach and Programs Division, which is led by Courtney Mariette. We have our Common Ownership Communities Division that deals with all the HOAs and our condos, which is led by Daria Bailey. We have our Special Projects Unit, which includes Youth Speaks, because I always thought that it was very important for us to give our youth a space to speak. Because, you know, we're not going to be here forever, but they will be. And it's not just about the future, but it's about the present, how they feel, what their needs are, and how they want to participate in government. And so, again, that's led by Nicole Jackson Young. And then we have Jennifer Hawkins, who leads our 311 on the go effort. The community piece is very important. And we have a county executive who is a community leader. And so she believes in getting to where people are, meeting them where they are, and elevating. And so one of the things that Jennifer is showing with our 311 on the go program, and this is our 311 Day of Action. So March 11th only comes once a year, 311. So we had a resident that we knew about her situation. She had a tree, a senior, and she couldn't afford to get it down. And so this tree is blowing. The tree has been dead for years. And so it was not in the right of way. It was not the responsibility of government, but we felt like it was our responsibility to connect her with resources, because at the Office of Community Relations, we're connecting people and we're connecting resources. We reached out to one of our community partners, and on this day, we were able to cut down her tree. Now the resident is able to sleep at night and sleep soundly, right? And not knowing that when a windstorm is coming, this tree was going to blow, it could blow into her home. And so we were able to do that, but we're not able to do that if we're not out in the community. So, and then also there was a bus, and Jennifer, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this bus was sitting on the street for 10 years, maybe 7. I don't want to go over. I say at least
about 10 years.
10 years, Jennifer? Okay, so I got the 10
Yeah.
right. This bus would not move. A blight in the community, residents complained for years. We were able to take it down with the help of our police department, Office of Law, our Revenue Authority, but we did it in, we took the appropriate process and we moved that bus. And so we're able, through our 311 on the Go program, to again address concerns in a way that is very unique that we weren't able to do before the Alsobrooks administration. And we will continue to address issues like this because we're going to, as we're out in the community. And so again, 311. You see our new logo. It's a little bit more colorful. It really represents diversity. It represents movement. And with our PGC 311 system, I'm really, really excited. I hear you talking about bulky trash. You will now be able to schedule your bulky trash online. You don't just have to call into the 311 call center. You will be able to use our mobile app and you'll be able to choose from dates. And so right now with our system, it's limiting. So you're given a date, and say the date is May 27th. That is the date you have. With this new system, you'll have options. We do believe in giving community members options, so that way you can make the best decisions for you and your family. So PGC, we got a new logo treatment as well, and we're going to be able to talk to systems like DC system, Alexandria system, because if you're a resident that works in DC but lives in a county and you want to make a 311 call, it's going to connect you to DC. But now that we all are operating on the same system, you do that, a DC operator will be able to send you over to Prince George's County's 311. And again, I think that's about convenience. It also elevates our call center. And I'm not sure if any of you know, last year, even through the pandemic, the Prince George's County 311 call center was honored with its first ever national 311 award. And again, I attribute that to the team there who's answering the calls every day. And sometimes they're not the most pleasant, but we do understand. We understand that many residents are calling. When you call us, you're probably really frustrated. And so our job is to ensure that we provide a quality level of service to you, and we get you connected right away. And I'll close with this. I did also hear about the potholes and the litter on various streets. One thing that this system is going to be able to do is educate our residents, because if there are potholes or trash on streets that the county is not responsible for, you will not be able to put a request in our new system. We will then be able to direct you to the appropriate state agency for you to put your request. I think it is all about education, Ms. Sweat, as you mentioned earlier. When you don't know, you don't know. And so instead of, some of the with the system now, and we've done a good job of cleaning it up. But some things, some requests, and I try to be as transparent as possible, they went into a black hole. But with this new system, that's not going to happen anymore. And so we'll be able to be a more accountable government to our residents, and you'll be able to understand where your service is. You will now receive emails about the tracking of your service. So if your service is 45 days, will take 45 days to complete, you'll receive, and I'm just saying this as an example, you'll receive an email when you initiated service, you'll receive an email at the 10th day of service, maybe at the 25th day of service, then maybe we were able to complete it within before 45 days, and then you'll receive an email that says your service has been completed. I think that has been one of the missing pieces. When you put a request in, you don't know what happened, and you may not understand why. And I think that when residents call us, it's not always about getting to I think everything going the residents' way. It's also about just that resolution and understanding what we can do as government and what we can't. And when we can't do something as government, then we're able to connect you to the appropriate resources. I think that having that level of understanding why your street may not be able to be repaired this year, maybe it will be repaired next year. I think understanding that process, and with our 311, PGC 311 and 311 to go programs, you will have a better understanding of how your government operates. And I will put in the chat, Walter James for our southern area is your contact for the Office of Community Relations. Prior to in our office, we have a contact for every district. That didn't happen before. And so you're able now to reach out to your contacts or your community liaisons in OCR, and you're able to share with them the concerns that you have, and then that person will be able to connect you to the resources that you need. And so what I'll do, Ms. Sweat, is make sure that you get a listing of all of the community liaisons, what district they're assigned to, and then that way it's like your go-to. Because what I don't want residents to do is go to 5 or 6 people. I want you to have a contact, a one-on-one, because it's all about relationship building. And so when we're better able to understand you, you're better able to understand us. And I think that just helps the communication all the way around. So I hope I was helpful.
Absolutely, you were.
Okay.
And I want to thank you, even though you didn't have a formal presentation. That was great. You were well prepared. I do have one question on the vaccination front. You mentioned it, so sorry.
Okay, let's go.
We still have a problem in the county with a lot of our elders not getting information, not getting callbacks or contact back regarding vaccinations, even though they've tried to register. And I heard you say we do have now mobile vaccinations.
We do.
How do we get information to our seasoned citizens in the county who do not rely upon mobile technology or even computers for their information? Because I understand there are several elderly citizens who've not heard from the county and have not been able to get vaccinated.
Okay. And that's one thing that I will say definitely, Ms. Wright, I don't take for granted that everyone has access. And I believe that this office has tried to provide a broad range of access. And so with the mobile unit, prior to even with testing, the 311 call center has established a COVID-19 response unit within the system, where we have operators that will respond to residents when they call to address concerns. And so our citizens who don't have access to a computer, the library, at the time, the libraries were shut down. Maybe that access was cut off as well. You may call 311, press pound, and you will be taken to the 311 COVID-19 response unit, and we will register for you. Also, in the chat, Jennifer, can we just again make sure that our number, our contact information is there? You can call OCR, and we will ensure that the citizen, the senior, is registered. And so we don't take lightly that everyone has access. With our mobile units, what we have done, we've connected with our partners, faith-based organizations, and other business partners and community partners. And we've been able to take our mobile units, go to where you are, because I think a lot of residents feel safe. You feel safe in your community, right? You trust your leaders in your community. And so when we're able to go to you and administer a vaccine, I think we're able to reach more people. Because again, I don't take for granted that you can get to the sports and learning complex. I don't take for granted that you have a car, right? Or that or that your neighbor's going to be able to take you that day. I understand that we need to come to you. So for any senior that is in need of assistance, and if you know the senior, please give us a call, and we will call them within a 24-hour period. For those seniors who are homebound, our Office of Emergency Management and Health, and our health department, we have a homebound program where we go out Monday during the week, Monday through Friday, to take care of the needs of our homebound seniors. So the shot is administered in the home. So again, if you know anyone, please call us, and we work closely with the Office of Emergency Management and the health department to ensure those seniors' needs are addressed. And so again, call 311, press pound, and an operator will answer. And so one of the things that we've done and for 311, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Now for prior to 2 weeks ago, we were almost operating 24 hours in our call center. And so you were able to call in COVID-19 concerns. If you had any complaints, someone wasn't wearing a mask, or there were gatherings that were larger than 50, you were able to call us to 4 a.m. in the morning. And some of that is now being scaled back, but you're always able to email us, and someone is going to respond to you right away, or you can just simply call the number that Jennifer has put in the chat. Again, I hope that's helpful. And as I said earlier, we have 4 mobile units that are out today, anyone can come to those locations. I'll make sure those locations get put in the chat to right now. Anyone can come to be vaccinated today, 10 to 2, and then we have our 3 to 5 event. And our mobile units, they are Saturdays and Sundays, and my office is the lead on those particular units. And again, you can look on, we put it out through social media, and Ms. Sweat, I will make sure that you get the schedule. So that way, you know where those mobile units are. You can put it out to your listserv as well. And I think, and I'm asking everyone on this call, if you know someone who is in need to be vaccinated, please call us. Let us know and share the information.
Great. I got another question from one of our participants or attendees today. Is Bach Road currently still the only site in the southern part of the county to get vaccinations? Or is there another area or site where you can walk up and get vaccinated in this part of the county?
That is, I don't know if Alex is on the line or not from OEM, but I do believe
Yes.
Bach Road. Okay, Alex, I don't want to misspeak. So if you could jump on and please respond to Ms. Sweat. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Ooh, isn't that a perfect segue? Hi, Alexandra. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, no problem. And thank you, Director Davis. And she is correct. For the county-led site, there is only the Bach Road location for the vaccination.
Okay, now forgive me because I'm gonna be petty. For the county-run sites, is it safe to assume that only Prince George's residents are being serviced by those sites? Or are we still sharing resources with our friends over in Montgomery County, in Charles County, in Calvert County? Yeah.
So the county-led sites, they vaccinate county residents or those who work in the county. So because of that overlay, there could potentially be people who do live in another county or jurisdiction, but they work in the county. So as long as they can verify that they work in the county or live in the county, we do vaccinate them here.
Awesome. Thank you. And while you're on the line, I'm going to turn the show over to you and let you talk about the Office of Emergency Management.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I do not have a formal presentation, but I did want to kind of give a little background just because I know we're a small agency that many people forget about. But the Office of Emergency Management, or OEM, we actually are coordinating the county's emergency management program. So we aim to kind of prepare, plan, respond, mitigate, and recover from all hazard events, which are disasters and even weather events. So we coordinate and support response and recovery with our local, state, federal partners, and even private sector partners on a normal basis. And we actually house the county's state-of-the-art emergency operations center, which allows us to kind of maintain a constant state of readiness for whatever happens, whether it's terrorist type situations or weather events, but then also maintain situational awareness at all times, but especially in these disaster or weather events. With that, OEM, in collaboration with the health department, we are the lead agencies coordinating the COVID-19 response for the county. But that does not mean that we're not working with all these other agencies that are on this call. It's been a countywide effort. So every one of these agencies you've heard from today have played a large part in the COVID-19 response, in addition to many others that are not on this call. So I did want to give that background, and there was a question I remember seeing that was about vaccination. So do you want me to just go into it? Okay, so there was the question kind of on that, on the same line of what you originally asked about us sharing resources and vaccinating people who are non-county residents. And the question was, why did the state health officials send non-county residents to Prince George's County to get COVID-19 vaccinations during the early distribution? So just briefly, we did begin our mass vaccination efforts in January. That was following our sports and learning complex opening up in Landover. The health department at that time had received guidance from the state saying that we should not limit our vaccination clinics to just county residents and those who work in the county. So as a result, we initially placed that state link onto our site for the health department. And unfortunately, that resulted in thousands and thousands of individuals who did not live or work in the county securing appointments. So quickly after, and I do mean a very short time after, we saw that, and we did receive new guidance from the state, which did allow for the county to restrict the vaccine supply. But with that, we were able to get our health department to kind of quickly correct course. And that was at that point, we started building that pre-registration system, which many people saw. We do not have it any longer because now you can register directly. But at that time, that's why we implemented that pre-registration system, because that would allow us to better guide and manually vouch for that these people were actually residents and should be getting vaccinated within our county. So our health department did take the time to manually go through thousands and thousands of appointments, actually canceling them for those who were not county residents. And with that, those state sites are managed by the state and maintained by the state. So a lot of some of those issues that happened across the jurisdiction happened within those first few months while we kind of worked with the state to correct the problem. Over time, we've heard the questions, we've heard the concerns that many believe that hundreds of thousands of appointments went to residents from other jurisdictions. And I can tell you that's a bit of misinformation because it didn't occur quite on the level that it appeared to be. So during the week of January 18th, we only had 2 full days of vaccinations at the Sports and Learning Complex due to the Martin Luther King holiday. So on January 21st and the 22nd, we provided 1,726 vaccinations. Of those, 965 or 56% went to Prince Georgians. During those 2 days, we provided 423 vaccinations to residents who were 75 and older. And of those, 68% were Prince Georgians. So with all that math we just did, there were actually only 134 vaccinations that were provided to non-county residents. So we worked through it. It was definitely, a lot that happened there. But of those non-county residents who received those vaccinations, 176 were educators, 117 were healthcare providers, and 85 were first responders who were actually eligible within that phase 1. And again, that was based on employment, not residency. So the numbers did look like a lot, but when you kind of peel back the layers, you can see that very little actually went to those who were not county residents. So we did administer that small amount of doses to those who didn't, but a little over 100 in total. So once we became aware of it, we canceled, again, thousands and thousands of appointments that were made by those who were ineligible. And since that time, we have not gone back down that road. We continue to ensure that those who are registering are actually county residents or work in the county.
Awesome. And thank you for your forthrightness with that information, because the media does not always make you look good. I have another question for you, Ms. Harris. Maybe you can answer this.
Okay.
We've been having a lot of rain lately, and we do have low-lying areas where homeowners suffer a lot of flooding. And one of the challenges for some of them has been the inability to get sandbags to prevent flooding in their basements. Why doesn't the county provide sandbags?
So sandbags is actually not in my arena.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. But because we are coordinators, we are often in the middle. So we do collaborate with the Department of Environment, and we work with them with hazard mitigation and flooding. So I'm not sure if DOE is on.
Yes, DOE is on. Another perfect segue, because DOE is actually next. The acting director, Ms. Michelle Russell, and we also have, I had somebody else for DOE. I got multiple names, but we have Ms. Linda Lowe. We have Ms. Michelle Russell and Ms. Linda Lowe from DOE. So if this is in their area, now might be a good time for them to chime in, talk about their office, and address that question. Thank you, Harris.
Oh, thank you very much. Good morning still. Yes. Good morning, everyone. I am Michelle Russell, Acting Director for the Department of Environment. We're going to save that question for Dawn when she comes up to give her presentation, okay? So I just want to give you a little overview of the agency. As stated before, we are the Department of the Environment. We have 6 divisions within the Department of the Environment, including the Director's Office. The Director's Office houses our communications team, which Ms. Lowe is the PIO for that section and the leader of that team. We also have our Sustainability Services Division, and they're basically, we always say they're the core of our agency because they house the technology, the contracts, the human resources, and all those entities that we need to survive as a business that's housed in that particular division. We also have the Stormwater Management Division, and we have Mr. Sinachu here with us. He's our Deputy Associate Director for that division, and he will come on during the PowerPoint presentation. But basically, that division is responsible for the protection and restoration of our waterways. We have the Clean Water Partnership Program in that particular division. We have MS4 oversight, permit oversight in that division, as well as the rain check rebate program and restoration projects as well. And we have our sustainability division, and that's led by Ms. Hoxton Nixon, and she's also gonna come on doing the PowerPoint presentation. She is the associate director for that division. And that division does handle drainage concerns on and inspections on private properties, environmental justice, climate change, tree relief, community cleanups. We assist with those, and environmental crimes unit and beautification efforts fall under that particular division. We have our resource recovery division, and within that division, we have recycling and composting efforts, as well as oversight of 2 landfills. One is which is closed, but we do have oversight still. And we handle the residential trash collections as well as bulky collections. And last but surely not least is our animal management division. And basically the goal of that division is to make sure we find our furry friends of forever homes. We have care for the animals within our adoption center. We also investigate and enforce citizen complaints. And we also do breed evaluations, and we investigate complaints for, pets running at large, defecating on people's property and all those things like that. So that's a brief overview, okay? So now we're gonna start with our Stormwater Management Division, and I'm gonna have Mr. Sinachu come up to the mic. As stated before, he's our Deputy Associate Director for that particular division.
All right, thanks, Michelle. I hope everyone can hear me. And good morning, everyone. Hope you all are well and safe. I would like to congratulate to all the elected board of directors. As Michelle mentioned, that Stormwater Management Division, I'll be taking care of discussing more about the stormwater management. What our visions are basically is to protect, treat, and restore water quality and mitigating flooding throughout the county. We try to achieve this mission by implementing various water quality restoration projects within the county that treats all the untreated impervious area within the county, helps to meet the county's NPDES, which is National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, MS4 mandate, as well as we work on the levee certification and flood mitigation projects to improve the water quality and protect our communities. I will go to the next slide, Don. Yeah, thanks, Don. And this slide, actually, I believe we had several questions from you guys. And one of the question is the community aware of the environmental issues we have in the Prince George's County and other bodies of polluted waters. So pretty much I'll cover that question also in the slide. SMD, which is Stormwater Management Division, administers various programs to achieve division's mission. Some of the important programs the divisions are, one of the various program which Michelle also mentioned earlier about the watershed restoration or urban retrofit program. Under this program, we work with various nonprofit organizations, residents, and contractors within the county to help the county to meet the NPDES MS4 mandate. by treating stormwater runoff and reducing pollutants to the local and bay watersheds. The county has been issued by the MDE, Maryland Department of the Environment State, and EPA total maximum daily loads for 15 watershed. It's basically those loads were established for treating the runoff, which does not meet the water quality standard for those watersheds. Another program which the county works on is the Clean Water Fee program. This fee was implemented sometime back in 2015 after the state passed the House Bill 987, which mandates again the county to charge the fee to implement a water quality restoration activities within the county. That fee is basically everybody may be seeing it in their tax bills. Again, the another important program where the public participation also involves is the rain check program. Under this program, we work very closely with the nonprofit organizations and other county residents and faith-based organization. For faith-based organization, there is a program, sub-program is alternative compliance program, that all the programs help the county to work closely with these organizations and make the county a healthier and beautiful county and cleaner as well. The participants who are contributing there or participating under this program are eligible for clean water fee reductions and their fee, and also they get a rain check rebate also if they implement stormwater management activities within their properties that treats again the impervious surface. Another very important program which the county also work is the investigation, inspection and enforcement program. Under this program, the county works very closely with our sister agencies, DPI also, and we investigate illicit discharges within the county, inspect and ensure all the stormwater management facilities, private stormwater management facilities within the county, whether they are functioning appropriately, and work with DPI to enforce legal actions if needed. Some of the we also work on with the municipalities to develop and assist them pollution prevention plan and a good housekeeping with all the municipalities within the county. Last but not least, there's the drainage and the flood mitigation program. The division works closely with other agencies and other divisions within the county and implement the drainage improvement projects to reduce flooding and improve water quality. So all of the program that I just discussed can be achieved. We worked very closely again with the local, state, and federal agencies such as Army Corps, Maryland National Park Services, Department of Natural Resources, and nonprofit organizations such as Chesapeake Bay Trust, Anacostia Watershed Society, and Low Impact Development Centers. In addition, as Michelle also mentioned about that public-private partnership called Clean Water Program Partnership and CIP program that assists CIP's capital improvement program that assists in meeting the county's NPDES MS4 mandate. So overall with that, like we do work very closely with the community and all the TMDLs, which I have mentioned, 15 TMDLs, county organize a workshop and a community meeting with the county residents and nonprofit organizations and discuss all the polluted TMDLs and get their feedback accordingly and update and county as well. Report every year their progress related to NPDES MS4 permit to the state, Maryland Department of the Environment, as well as along with that report, we also provide a watershed protection restoration program report to the state for their review as well. So with that, I would let my presentation ends and invite our next speaker, Ms. Dawn Hawkins-Nixon, Associate Director, Sustainability Division. And thanks everyone. I will glad to answer any questions at the end if you have.
Good morning, and thank you, Sudhanshu and Michelle. I gonna jump right into the description of the type of work that the Sustainability Division administers. We have a few focus areas. First focus area, flood management, big concern to many residents of the county, just due to the fact that our climate is changing. We're getting much more rain than we had received in this area in prior years. So the flooding issues and concerns are growing, and we are preparing ourselves or helping to establish programs and services to help the county prepare for the expected increases in the amount of rain that we're going to get due to climate change, and preparing the county to become more resilient to that emerging condition. We also focus on litter reduction and environmental education and outreach, as well as climate action planning. So this morning, I really do want to focus on the drainage concerns affecting the county and many residents in the county. So as you may have heard from our sister agencies, Department of Permitting, Inspection, and Enforcement, and Department of Public Works and Transportation, many agencies have a role to play in drainage relief and drainage and flood management. But for DOE, we focus on that residential private property flooding. So the staff engineers in the Sustainability Division continue to conduct investigations of drainage and flood complaints affecting residential properties. We assess on and off-site conditions, drainage infrastructure, and determine the source of the drainage issues. Now, when we determine that certain drainage and flooding issues are of a nature that fall within homeowner responsibility and can be addressed by the homeowner, our engineers will give technical advice on how to address those issues. We also have a homeowner residential manual, drainage manual, that we refer to the residents for additional guidance on how to address those drainage issues. Sometimes the problem can be corrected by just simply regrading of the property. Sometimes the drainage issue may need to be corrected through installation of a new sump pump or French drains. Now, when there are problems that arise due to maintenance of public storm drain infrastructure, we work closely with our Department of Public Works and Transportation to resolve that maintenance issue to alleviate flooding on a residential property. In other cases where there is a major flood issue due to surface water runoff that occurs on a repetitive basis, we will work with our stormwater management division to develop a capital improvement project to resolve that flooding issue on the residential property. But of course, as this slide shows, we must prioritize the type of residential drainage issues that come into our office. many times for, budget reasons, right? We can't address each and every complaint that comes in, but for those priority 1 level complaints, right, or issues that are described as drainage issues that occur on a regular basis, that enter into a residential property inside the home itself, or that cause severe flooding that may jeopardize the stability of the foundation of a home. Those types of issues rise to the top, right? And we will work with our other colleagues to develop projects to address those types of drainage issues. And I just want to move to the next slide to explain how your drainage issues are heard and moved through our county in terms of finding resolution to the problem. So again, the Department of the Environment will focus on drainage issues affecting the residential property itself. Our Department of Public Works and Transportation will address drainage issues which occur in the public right-of-way. Now, our Department of Permitting, Inspection, and Enforcement will address drainage issues affecting what we call new properties. Those are properties that are either in a development that's under construction or have been constructed within the last 5 years or so. So just for purposes of having an understanding of how these agencies work together to address drainage issues, we're sharing this particular slide. But I do want residents to understand that there's no need for them to think through who to call to address their drainage issues. Simply call 311 and the county will figure it all out for the resident based on the information provided in terms of the source of the problem and where the problem exists. And I do want to address the question that was posed to Alexandra and Office of Emergency Management. My team does work with the Office of Emergency Management on the monitoring of our flood gauges at high hazard dams and at other areas of the county. So with regard to the question, why doesn't the county provide sandbags? I really don't have a good answer for that. That is something that we could perhaps entertain. I'd have to talk with my colleagues at Department of Public Works and Office of Emergency Management to determine if that would be a feasible measure or a feasible service to offer our residents when we are seeing that there's the potential for a major storm event. Perhaps that is a service that we have not thought of to date that could be beneficial to the county residents. So that's an idea that we will have to discuss across agencies to come to some solution determination on, rather. And with that, I believe we have wrapped up the presentation for the Department of the Environment. And thank you for allowing us to have the opportunity to present this morning.
Thank you, Department of Environment. And don't go away because I do have a couple questions for you. But before I do that, because we generally end our meetings at noon. But this meeting was entitled Everything Prince George's, and we have covered just about everything Prince George's in this meeting. And I do want to thank our guest panelists and speakers, our county officials, and I also want to thank our members and other guests who are with us. And I'm going to ask you to bear with us a little while longer. I'm going to try to wrap this up in like 30 minutes, because we do have another agency on the line that I want to acknowledge and give the opportunity to speak to us before we go. And I got a couple questions for the Department of Environment. The first question that I have, I understood that the county is charging a fee for water quality. Last month, we had a presentation regarding our water quality, and we understand that some of the contaminants in our water system has to do with our Superfunds and our military installations. The question is, what is the county doing to work with the state environmental agency and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to address the Superfund sites we have, so that county residents don't end up bearing the cost for cleaning up the contamination of our waterways caused by federal installations?
Michelle, do you want me to talk about it?
Yes, Sinatra, please take that.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. I think I honestly say that I would not have an exact answer of that question, but I will try to answer some of the things. But we work very closely, Department of the Environment work very closely with the state and U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. And we are working under the NPDES permit and the Clean Water Act from the Environmental Protection. So the Superfunds, I would say we basically use that funds mostly for the treating the watersheds within the county, and making our bay cleaner more, like as to meet the total maximum daily load for the local watersheds and the Chesapeake Bay watershed, by implementing various watershed restoration activities within the county, as well as the same thing which what we do with you charging the fee for the clean water fee, that being used 100% towards the water quality restoration activities within the county. And I hope I answered this question, but if not, maybe we'll get back to you in more detail about
Yes, that would be helpful, because we understand the military installations are using some contaminants that have entered into our waterways, and it's causing health issues that, of course, we're concerned about. And if we're paying for cleanup, that should not be, because the federal government has money set aside to pay for those cleanups. And we're curious how much of that money now is flowing into Prince George's County to help us with this process. The second question that I have regarding the environment, because of where Prince George's County is located, we have the Chesapeake watershed that we have to address. We have the Anacostia River on one side, and we got the Potomac River on the south side. It seems that logic would say we're going to be impacted by underground water flow, as well as the rivers that are right along our borders, and in some instances flow right through the county. I cannot find anywhere in the county records where we've ever required developers to provide an environmental impact statement to help us address the mitigation of flooding in the county. Why don't we ask for developers and major construction projects to provide an environmental impact statement before they build?
Okay, I'll take that question. So environmental, from the perspective of the developers having to assess the potential flood inundation at their sites, at their proposed project sites, they are required, our Department of Public Permitting, Inspection, and Enforcement requires developers to do flood analysis in the absence of any existing flood studies. So the county, along with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, have identified flood hazard areas along major waterways, rivers, in Prince George's County and abutting Prince George's County. So we do have defined flood hazard areas for the Potomac River, Anacostia River, and Potomac River. We know those limits of flooding inside the county. Now, for waterways that feed into those rivers and cut through the county, we also have identified flood hazard areas. FEMA has identified those areas. In many cases, the county has identified additional areas or expanded areas based on ultimate land use conditions. There are areas which we don't know where the floodplain limits are yet. And if a developer wants to develop a property in those areas, then our Department of Permitting, Inspection, and Enforcement will require the developer to do that type of flood assessment prior to development.
And if I could chime in, this is Mary Giles with DPI, and Dawn has it absolutely right. When a new land development project, large or small, comes in for permit, actually, even when they come in for their first concept approval, DPI requires the developer's engineer to either delineate floodplain based on a previously done study or prepare a new study for any stream with 50 acres of drainage area or larger. So that's kind of one of the first things we require at the concept stage of a project is delineate the floodplain limits. Land development projects, permit projects generally are required to delineate the floodplain limits, stay out of the floodplain limits. We also require land development projects to analyze stormwater management. They look at both water quality and quantity control, and both at the concept and permit stage. The DPI requires the project to provide both state and county required quantity control and quality control to clean up the runoff before it leaves the site. Also, kind of as a companion to the DPI process, the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission requires a natural resource inventory for permit projects. The named NRI for short, and the NRI looks at trees, slopes, streams, endangered species, other elements are considered in the NRI, and it's used as a planning tool to determine what parts of the site to preserve versus what parts of the site to develop. And Park and Planning reviews and approves those NRIs. Park and Planning also reviews and approves tree conservation plans with permit projects. So thank you.
Thank you for that. And as a concerned citizen, I want to make a suggestion. Flood analysis are great, but they're not enough. In my federal background, I've worked a lot with FEMA and with the EPA. And what I will share with you is, while I'm not a civil engineer, I did a lot of environmental work as an attorney. An environmental impact statement, while extremely costly, goes deeper than what we see on the surface. And I say that because Oxon Hill High School had a big sinkhole in its parking lot after speed bumps were put on the school grounds to slow down the traffic. That had to be repaired. Those speed bumps, the jackhammering, I understand, caused the sinkhole. It wasn't just the jackhammering. The sinkholes were caused because there are underground streams that an environmental impact statement and a proper survey of what's happening underground would identify. And we could have gotten the warning in advance not to do the jackhammering because it shifts the sand, which when the sand shifts, the sinkholes come. That disrupted school traffic and activities for almost a year. Now we have 2 homes over in Fort Washington on, I think it's Asbury Drive or Asbury Road. Those families now have been told they have to leave their homes because the ground is sinking from underneath. And they have mortgages to pay. And I will tell you, I'm very concerned about an unconstitutional taking by making those families leave their homes without some type of payment. But again, that's occurring because the flood waters, the drainage waters is leading back to the Potomac. So it's taking the ground from underneath. You don't see that when you're looking to buy a home. That's one of the reasons why I went searching for environmental impact statements, because I own a home in Accokeek. My home is about 2 or 3 miles away from the Potomac River. I have drainage in my backyard. Having lived in Florida on the beach and watched my driveway be pulled away from my home because the sands are moving underground to the ocean, I know land moves, the ground moves. But if you don't tell me up front before I buy my house that there's an underground stream that may cause my foundation to shift, that affects my ability to make an informed decision about where I want to buy a home. And it's unfair of the county to tell 2 families now, you got to vacate your house because it's not safe. And oh, by the way, figure out how you're going to pay your 30-year mortgage. And that is happening right now in the southern part of the county. So I would ask that the experts rethink not asking for an environmental impact statement from our developers. They're going to balk because I know they don't want to pay the money. It's not cheap. But in order to give home buyers an honest view of what they're getting themselves into, I think that is the better option than just doing a flood analysis or a natural resource analysis. Just
hold on, Ms. Sweat, I just want to tell you and kind of correct the record here because I don't want to leave it confused. Those homeowners it's off of Hallwood Place Drive, and it's the road below is Asbury. You are correct. There is a problem out there that is resulting in a retaining wall failing. That is on private property, and it started as a dispute with the developers, but the county has, at the county executive's direction, taken on that project, and we are the ones that are going to fix it. And the county executive has actually met with those individual homeowners who are being impacted and assured them that the county will make them whole. So we have met with them. They're not going to be required to leave their house without some form of compensation and to be taken care of. So I do want you to know that. And that is really the county executive at her direction going above and beyond, because that is not county property. It's not a county issue. But she felt that because the developers had let those individual homeowners down, that it was incumbent upon the county to create a solution for that. And it's a multi-million-dollar solution. And I will tell you, part of what we have done is partnered with those homeowners in filing a lawsuit against those developers as well. We've partnered not only with those 2 individual homeowners, but with the HOA as well, because the entirety of the HOA is being impacted. And because that retaining wall runs for several hundred yards, the county has actually hired an independent engineering company to go out and inspect that entire retaining wall as well. So it is a good point. You know, you obviously have to be very careful when you build in low-lying areas like this. And certainly, you know, I think what the county will show you is when it did its environmental water presentation to the county council, there is a new thought. And a lot of those homes were built before the regulations have changed. So it is certainly something to always keep in mind and something that the county is aware of, that particularly in South County, there are some very, very tough water and drainage issues. So we are on top of that, and I just kind of wanted to let you know where things stood, so that way it wasn't confused that these poor homeowners, and they are the poor homeowners because they are being impacted the most. And as I've said to everyone, I know I'm in the same boat as everyone else. The biggest asset, I think, for everybody on this call is their home. You know, I don't have anything bigger than my home, and I'm sure most of the people on this call, that is their number one asset. So that is why the county executive went above and beyond and would make sure that those homeowners are compensated.
Mr. McCarthy, I do appreciate you sharing that with us, and I will tell you, permitting developers to develop that land, because the county issued those permits.
Absolutely.
So the county bears some responsibility.
And that's why I say, you know, that wall was permitted back in 2006. You know, a lot of it has changed since 2006. You know, that's a wall that was supposed to last a minimum of 75 years. You know, I think the construction was finalized in 2013. You know, so that wall is failing in less than 10% of the lifespan it was supposed to have. There are a number of issues out there, you know, and a lot of them are design and development and, you know, following up. So yeah, I mean, that's why the county executive felt we've got to step in, because if you can't find a remedy through the private sector, your last resort is often local government. And she felt that it was important for those homeowners. And I will tell you this, we do a weekly newsletter it's an email weekly newsletter out to the Tintallen Homeowners Association. If that's something that you would like us to copy you on, we're happy to do that as well.
Please do, so that we make sure those who don't get that newsletter get the information. Because again, we are relying upon the media, and the media is not your friend.
Nope, I have the email. We will send it out to you. We basically update the Tintallen community weekly on either the status of the construction, the repair construction, which is anticipated to start out there in July, or the status of the lawsuits. You know, a mix of all that is kind of what the weekly update is. So we'll make sure we include your homeowners association on that.
Thank you. Thank you. And because we're over time, we do have one more entity on the line with us today. And we didn't specifically invite the Board of Education because we talk a lot about education in SCEDA. And I have to acknowledge that the current chair of our Board of Education is a life member with our organization. We also have another board member who is a member of our executive team in SCEDA. So we get regular updates from PGCPS, but I do want to acknowledge Dr. Juanita Miller, the chair of the Prince George's County Board of Education. I want to acknowledge Miss Belinda Queen. She's the board member from District 6 who's joined us today. Thank you, Miss Queen, for being here. And I also want to acknowledge our own, another one of SCEDA's own, Miss Sonia Williams, who is the District 9 Board of Education representative. And I'm not going to ask for a presentation, Dr. Miller, because you were on a hot seat a couple months ago. But I will tell you, we did get a question because parents are still concerned that the board doesn't seem to be getting along any better than you were before. And the kids are getting ready to go back to school in the fall. So we'll be looking to hear more from the Board of Education and PGCPS about next school year and how things are going to be handled with the return of all of our babies to the classroom for 5 days a week at some point in the future. But I did want to acknowledge your presence and thank you for supporting SCEDA. Thank you for always being open to dialogue and discussion with us and for your presence here today.
Thank you.
I'm going to wrap up because it is now 12:18. And I want everyone to know that SCEDA is very appreciative of you all taking your time to be with us today. We try to share valuable information with the community to be helpful and educational. And I want to extend an extra special appreciation to Mr. John Erzin, the Deputy Chief of Staff for the County Executive, and every county official who's been on this meeting today. We know you're very busy. I have to acknowledge, because I've been a public servant for my entire professional career, it is the employees of any governmental agency, whether it's federal, state, or local, who keeps everything running like a well-oiled machine. And if it were not for you all, the ladies and the gentlemen who were here with us today, who talked about your expertise and what you do for the county, day in and day out, there is no way Prince George's County would be as great as it is. And so on behalf of President Jane Taylor Thomas and the entire board of directors and membership of SCEDA, I want to give a heartfelt thank you to you all for coming to us today and answering our questions and sharing information about where we can find the answers to our concerns, our issues, and even our complaints. Because that's usually where the complaints come from, because we cannot find the answers. And so we thank you for coming to us today to bring those answers. We applaud you for what you do for us, and we do not take that for granted. Unfortunately, we don't have time to recognize each of our SCEDA board of director members individually, but for our directors on the line, please wave your hand so everybody sees those who make SCEDA the organization that it is. You all work hard voluntarily, because the directors do not get paid for what they do, but they set the mission, the vision, and the direction of this organization and keep us afloat and keep us going. So to those who may be watching today, if you like what SCEDA's doing, if we are of any benefit to you, we ask that you check out our website at SCEDAinc.org, and please consider joining our organization, because we need more hands, we need more voices in the community so that everyone knows what's happening in Prince George's County at all times. I don't think we have any other announcements except for this. We won't be back with another community meeting, a community forum or general meeting until September 18th, which is 3 months away. We will miss you, but know in the meantime, the SCEDA Board of Directors will continue planning and working to put together great events like the ones we've had today. And we look forward to seeing you in September. I think we might be talking to the Chief Medical Officer from Southern Maryland Southern Maryland Prince George's Hospital Center. They just redid their trauma wing and their front lobby. So we're excited to hear about what's happening in healthcare in the county. And we'll be working to bring you more informative presenters in the fall, and next year's an election year. So we'll be looking forward to bringing more of our elected officials and even possibly some candidates before you to talk about the vision for Prince George's County and where we go post-pandemic into this 21st century. So again, thank each and every one of you for being with us. We look forward to seeing you in the future. And I'll give you a few minutes if you want to share the chat. Just go into the chat box, click the 3 buttons. You can save the text. If you don't get a chance to save it, just email us at SCEDAIncPG@gmail.com, and we'll make sure you get a copy of today's chat with all of the links and the great resources shared by our Prince George's County officials and employees. Again, thank you, and I wish you all a very great afternoon and a wonderful weekend. Hopefully you can enjoy the weather. Thank you again, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.